Yeah, I thought about the previous video. I was talking about getting out of my comfort zone, and I figured I might as well just talk about it right now because it perfectly intersects. I highly value it. When I was in quarantine, it got to a point of having no friends where I've manually went to Google and searched how to make friends, and that's when I went down a whole rabbit hole of like how to make friends. And at some point I've come across a video. It's a low view video. I don't even know if it's still up right now. Like, it's so underrated. But it's some dude who basically had a whole exposure therapy pack online. He talked about how I should, it started with documenting how I feel, and then exposing myself to an uncomfortable situation, which is talking to people, and then document how I feel afterwards. And there were other factors, but I basically moved to a new school. There were other factors because of it, but I was partly excited because I meant a fresh restart. I had no excuse of being afraid of being judged from my old classmates who may or may not have known me for, I don't know, being the quiet kid. I didn't really do much again, but I was excited to have a clean slate, and my biggest goal was to try to make friends. And with this packet, my main goal was to try to start a conversation, or even join a conversation once per day. And it was that bad that joining a conversation was difficult back then for me. So so I went out my way and tried joining conversation. It's still difficult. I think I only contributed like one thing to a conversation, and that would be like about it. And that was like basically my win. And I guess I slowly got more comfortable, and it really helped me be much more confident with talking to people. So I think I have my document somewhere too. That's I could find that documents literally how I felt right before each day and after. Yeah, even something like this. Like it was at Rocket League. I think I was playing Genshin. I would record myself playing like Genshin or something, and then talk to myself just exactly how I'm doing right now. And talk about how it went each day. And then I think it reached day 30. It was like around day 30 something, 32 maybe. So basically a month when I felt like I was in a comfortable spot where I did not need to talk to myself anymore, because I found some people who I considered were, I was able to talk. I had friends, or I considered myself having friends, and it was rewarding. Mind you, these group of friends it did not work out. 4 years later, maybe, but yeah. Actually, these group of friends actually led me, like, being mutuals with one of them led me to meeting more friends. It was actually through tennis, and and now they're my day ones. Like, they're real, and honestly, I consider them, like, I'm so grateful to have them now. Like, partly reason why I'm just very content with life, and I don't suffer from feeling lonely. It's just my friends, and I could be my full authentic self. It's great. I did mention tennis, and I met you guys through tennis. I also met you guys through like clubs too, the Beat Saber club. So yeah, if you're listening, and you know who you are. So thank you. But yeah, that's, again, I think the next video will probably be about friends, because I'm talking about friends right now. But before we get to that, me talking about friendship. I want to talk about the other situation of, well, being uncomfortable really changed my life. Basically, the biggest thing that's ever happened was I've always felt scared of being alone in situations. Sort of, basically, I always want to be, and I think a lot of us would want to be accompanied by others when in public social hangouts, especially concerts. Like, even now, I've always observed people who would refuse to go to a concert because they just don't have anyone to go with. And right now, because I've went through exposure, I now say, if you really want to see them, just that bad, you just go by yourself. And here's a big reason why. When I was, sorry, I don't know what I'm talking like. Yeah, basically, Leve came, and she basically posted a story of where she is. That basically says that she's like half an hour from where I live. That's where she is right now, and that's also where the venue is. By the way, the venue is sold out, so her concert is sold out. But she's out, not in her venue, and I was like, oh, I know where that is. So I thought, what if, like, clearly she's out, what if I go camp this venue's back door by myself? I don't know how I had the urge today, but I'm gonna go out of my comfort zone and, go by myself to a concert. And I did get there, a few people waiting, and know how I did it. Mustered up the courage to get out of my comfort zone and talk to new people about Leve. And from that, we talked, got to know them, and then behold, Leve walks by, and I was able to talk with her and get a picture with her. I didn't get a signature with her. I don't know why I didn't get a signature, but I didn't get a signature. I remember me for a short while after I just kind of regret. I was like, oh, I should have gotten a signature too, but I'm just happy I even got to see her, especially with how big Leve is right now. But but that's not even the most rewarding part. The staff right after, there was like a staff that worked there, came out and was like, oh, if you stay, she'll have extra tickets. So we stayed, and then we ended up, by the way, sold out venue where resale tickets were like $400. We ended up getting $30 tickets for front row balcony, which is like insanely close. Like, these tickets were like $1,000, which we got only for $30, which was amazing. And I got to see Leve. And that was like 2020. That was her Bewitched tour, if you know. So that's when her song From the Start, that's when that song got big. So, and for some reason, she was still touring small venues at the time. But I was also able to make many friends, most which unfortunately I actually haven't really talked to in a while, but the fact that I was actually able to make friends there was just incredible. And that's another reason why I'm much more comfortable now with going solo and things, because again, I've made myself comfortable by just exposing myself. And this also comes from the psychology term, the mere exposure effect, where if you're just exposed something more often, you'll gain a more comfortableness or likeness to it. And from what I've seen so far, that's literally how you get rid of like most fears. So you guys can correct me on this, but from what I've seen, that's literally how you get rid of most fears. So you just face it. That's why face your fears is a common slogan. It's the mere exposure effect. You just keep exposing yourself until you fear it less. It may not go away, but it'll be less. And there's still times where I still have social anxiety, but it's much better now. So, but that's why I really highly value going out of my comfort zone. That's about it. Yep.